Hello everyone, Alex Krebs here at Tangamente in Portland, Oregon, where the studio and I wish all of you a warm embrace going into the winter season. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about the 7 tango albums that I've recorded and produced over the past 18 years, and the amazingly talented musicians, artists, and engineers that I've had the good fortune to be able to collaborate with. I'm making these CDs available as gifts that I can send directly to your friends and families. I will personally hand wrap each one, can ship anywhere in the world, and I'll also put in a personalized note on these cool bandoneon cards that I had made. So let's get started with the video. First we have to go back 18 years where I led a group called Conjunto Berretin. In 2003 there weren't very many live tango bands around, so harmonica player Joe Powers and I formed a little duo and would play at the local milongas and also busk at the Saturday market here in Portland. We then wanted to expand the group, so we found Alan Renier on bass, Aaron Furby on violin, Risa Rank on vocals, and local jazz talent Tom Grant on piano, and formed a group called Conjunto Berretin. We recorded our first album and entitled it Tango for Lovers and Fools. It includes one track called Buenos Aires de mi Vida, which was composed by Risa Rank's grandfather, who went by the stage name Fortunio Bonanova. Fast forward 2 years, we sold out of 1,000 copies of the first CD and had another 1,000 pressed, and we thought now it's time to record the second album, which we did, called Tangamente Tengos a la Parrilla para bailar. This is the same configuration in terms of who's on the album, and it has tangos, valses, milongas, chacareras, original cortinas, several tracks that were recorded live with members of Trio Garufa from the Bay Area, and also an original valse called CD Valse, that was composed by our bass player Alan Renier and lyrics by Perry Bodensteiner. The album artwork was done by a local tangera and artist by the name of Christina Sells, and what she did was she backlit a piece of glass which had clay on the front of it, and everywhere that she removed clay and the light shined through became light from here. So this is actually a photograph here of light coming through this cool clay artwork. Again, this is a massive collaborative effort. It was recorded in Tom Grant's basement. He has a great recording studio, so the sound quality is also phenomenal. In 2006, I formed a group called Orquesta Electronica Berretin, and we released an album called Electro Tango Volume 1 with our hand in trying to fuse tango and electronica music. The layout and design of the CD was done by Jay Abling, who, as you can see in here, creatively took the titles of each track and kind of misaligned them, sort of like the keys on a bandoneon are misaligned. Now, if electronic tango is not really your cup of tea, you can always take that cup of tea and put it on the CD and use it as a coaster. In 2009, I flew to New York City for 1 day to record another improvisatory or a la Parrilla album with some musicians that I had never met in my entire life. On bass, we had Pedro Geraldo, who recently was featured on Best Tango Album of the Year that won a Latin Grammy. On violin, Nick Danielson on that same album. Both these artists have been nominated for Latin Grammys many times in the past. They're phenomenal tango musicians. On piano, I had Evan Griffiths, who I thought would complement my bandoneon playing well. We've known each other for years and have even performed in New York. In the Yale Tango Festival. And other tango festivals before, so that would give it some danceability. And then on vocals, the magical voice of Hector Pereira, who does a phenomenal job of doing this. The cover art is a mock-up of the old Reliquias label, tango label, and on the inside, the CD itself is a black CD that's meant to look like vinyl. There's even a picture here of me trying to teach my son bandoneon. In 2011, I recorded a CD called Stump Tandas. This was a little bit of a departure for me because I had gone from improvisatory or a la Parisia type of playing tangos to now moving on to transcriptions. So there are some transcriptions from the original recordings here on this album, and there are also some original arrangements of my own. We have Nicole Portley, Bernardo Gomez, Alan Renier, Adam Lamont, Andrew Oliver, and myself on this album. And while we were recording this, a friend of mine, a flamenco singer from outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, was in town. He called me and I said, come over to the recording studio and lay down some flamenco vocals on top of the tango. So we took No Te Apures Carablanca and had him improvise singing some flamenco on top of it, and the result is pretty cool. Take a listen.
No te apures, cara blanca, no arrelumbre, mi ventana, no te apures, cara blanca.
It's now 2012, and Andrew Oliver and I set out to compose original tangos, milongas, valses, and chacareras. The result? A great album called Looking Ahead on the Shoulders of the Past. All original compositions recorded here in Portland, Oregon, and also featuring another Latin Grammy nominee, Maria Volonté, who happened to be on tour at the time. The unique thing about this album is it's a departure not only from the a la Parisia style and the transcription style, but this is all original compositions and arrangements by Andrew Oliver and myself. The other unique thing about this is that the 3 milonga tracks on this album feature the great percussionist Jesse Brooke, who's playing cajon. In my opinion, some percussion and milonga really complement each other super well. The ultimate compliment was paid to us when we played some material from this album at a festival here in Portland, and one seasoned milongero thought that our original compositions were compositions that were recorded in the 19-teens and 1920s, refused to believe that we had composed them ourselves. In 2013, we recorded a fusion album called What the Tango, Ultimation, on white vinyl. We also had a digital download card made because some people, strangely enough, don't have record players. It's all original material, it's a fusion album, still danceable, and for the B side of the record, we sent our tracks to different electronic music producers in the US, and they sent us back remixes of the songs, so it's a really cool, interesting album. We also collaborated with Vicente Griego, that flamenco singer that I mentioned earlier on the Stump Tandas album, and also a good friend of mine, saxophonist Hafez Modir Zadeh, who teaches world music at San Francisco State University. Andrew, Megan, and I composed all the material on this track, and we're very proud of how it came out. We also released it with a comic book, which kind of explains the concept of the album. I'm going to read it to you now. We've got to get started this new piece and have it done by the next dance. Should we do something more traditional, modern, or something completely different? What direction should we go? Cultures grow on the vine of tradition. It is only those who are in constant revolt that discover what is true, not the man who conforms, who follows some tradition. It is only when you are constantly inquiring, constantly observing, constantly learning, that you find truth, God, or love. The traditional man is a bundle of routine. If you follow the classical pattern, you are understanding the routine, the tradition, the shadow. You are not understanding yourself. The new album should be on vinyl, white vinyl. And what should go on the B-side of the record? Dubstep remixes of the A-side material. This is crazy, we'll need a team. How about the Syncopator, Kitty Lampkins, the Furbinator, Captain Flacco says to Electro, Super V, and Bill. Are you all ready to invade? Then release the bandotron. A war battle of the traditional sound versus the new sound. Chun chun. What will happen to our line of dance? Is this not what happened in the Golden Age? There are no drums in tango. There are now. Look out, she's using her cabeceo. tradition has never weakened the art form. Indeed, it has strengthened these forms in times of need. But the new view must come. The world must roll forward. Yes. So that's the story of my albums. Again, I'm happy to ship these anywhere in the world, hand packaged by me with custom card. You can tell me what to write on the back to loved ones, families, and friends, and get them into the tango spirit. Thanks, and hope to see you on the dance floor soon.